Hey everyone, I'm going to do a pick a card reading about what your guardian angels want you to know right now. It's a positive message. What positive message do they want to deliver to you right now that they feel that you should hear? Not necessarily that you need to hear it. Maybe for some of you, you may feel you needed to hear what's going to come through, but it's mostly just confirmation that you're on the right path, is what I feel. It's a little difficult to see those cards. I'm going to pull another set and overlay it. This is pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. They're saying not to, because I may use multiples of this other deck. So we're going to leave it at this. Choose which card resonates with you. Use your intuition, and I'll see you at your group. Okay, pile number 1. Let's see your card. We have Lake Stillness. And as I look at this card, I can hear the rustling of the leaves and the rocking of this canoe. You know, when they rock, it gives like this knocking sound, like the knocking of it. But it's a slight knocking. It's a very peaceful knocking. And it's your guardian angels sending gratitude to you for finding your center, finding your peace, finding your core in a very busy world, in a very busy environment. It feels like a very fast-paced way of living or thinking. And you've accomplished or are beginning to accomplish or are working on finding that stillness internally. And how that is affecting the people around you in a positive way, because it energetically reverberates off of people who are at a faster pace, and it triggers a part of them to slow down or feel the energy, the difference of energy between you and the way that they are carrying on in the environment. And it feels like it's part of your, it's part of who you're meant to be, is what I'm getting. It's not necessarily your purpose. I think saying that, and why I hesitate to say that, kind of boxes you into this kind of way of being, as if that's something that you're meant to do. But it's more of just a complementary aspect of who you are. It's not necessarily what you're meant to become or be, if that makes sense. It's like, it's kind of like an offshoot, like positive impact that you're delivering other people, a gift to other people of without intending to be. You're just being yourself. We have all the seasons in here. I looked because I thought I knew I was going to see the sun, and I went like, I didn't split it necessarily, I just opened it like this, and the sun is right here. Your guardian angels are congratulating you. This is a congratulatory energy of you doing all of these things, taking care of your needs, prioritizing yourself, standing your ground, standing up for your beliefs, standing up for who you are, being true to who you are. There's a sense that there's a little bit of pushback or tension, whether this is from you initially in the past, or people around you, or even that maybe a minor thought of what will people think because I take on this new way of being, or this new way of life, or this new way of perceiving things, or people are projecting that onto you, but you standing firm in who you are and what you're becoming and who you're becoming. And even with here, I guess we could see that with the autumn, release the old and rest, that in that you are becoming more aligned with your inner beliefs and core. Very self-aware. I'm being pulled to the present. I'm not seeing much into anything that they want to say about what's to come for you, because it's very important that they're highlighting where you are currently, where you are now. And they're showing me how much you've changed. How much you've changed. And they're saying that this is your inner temple. You're preserving and maintaining your inner temple in a way that maybe in the past you felt distanced from it, right? You're on the outside of the inner temple, or this temple here, but you've changed your perception, knowing that you can walk in at any time. And in fact, you're meant, like, you are the owner of this temple. This is where you reside. So there was a choice prior to this. It feels like you chose to stay distant. And in that, you've actually learned a lot. You've gained a lot of wisdom from being outside of your temple, exploring beyond your gates, to the temple's gates. But it's a return to the interior of it. And it's like, by being outside, you've been able to see things from a different perspective. You've been able to be among, let's say, like this chaotic energy, this chaotic environment, or this fast-paced environment, or this overthinking environment. And by being there and being, it's different when you're watching something versus engaging in it, right? There's a whole nother level of understanding and experience that you get when you engage in something. And so through that engagement, you've been able to see things from one perspective and then return to your true nature and to carry that wisdom with you. You're not carrying that energy with you, and that's where you're releasing the old and resting, right? You're taking care of yourself, you're standing your ground, you're preserving your temple, right? This strength here. You're using that experience, that wisdom to mature and to grow, but you're leaving all of the baggage behind you. You're not allowing that to be carried into this next level. And it doesn't feel like a next chapter. They're highlighting that this is not a next chapter for you. You're not shutting the door completely. It's like you've gained confidence. It's like before, you would always keep the temple closed. And then when you ventured out, that's a whole nother story. Now that you've gained this wisdom, you know it's safe. You know that you can stand your ground. You know that you can protect your temple. So you leave the door a little bit ajar so you can get fresh air or whatever. Like, it feels more empowering. And they're highlighting that you're in a very empowered position here. And expansive. It feels mentally expansive and creatively expansive. So they're highlighting that this is allowing you to be uniquely you, and it's a very creative version of you. And they're saying, don't be afraid to make noise. And I don't feel that you are. So they're just highlighting that that's good. It's like, you don't need to be afraid to make noise. You don't need to be afraid to be yourself. And I'm seeing it doubled in this crow, because crows are very vocal, and it's also standing on these leaves, so it can make crinkling sounds. So they're saying it double, twice, like very loud. Do not be afraid to make noise, right? And that this inner reflection that you experienced was necessary. And you're doing everything right, as you should. So that's what I see for you guys. Bye. Okay, pile number 2. So let's see what your card is. Submerged. I'm actually seeing Italy in this card. I know it's an iceberg, but if Italy resonates with you, that might be another message for you. Unlock the magic within. I'm smiling because I feel so happy and so excited. That's the energy that I'm getting, and this message for you to trust, like your guardian angels are saying to continue to trust that your dreams are coming to fruition. It feels like a bubble popping. It's like if it's like this golden bubble right here, right? And it's below the surface. Okay, this is the image that I'm getting, is there's these icebergs, right? And there's this golden bubble, and as these icebergs shift, it releases a passageway for this bubble to come up to the surface and pop. And as it pops, this gold aura, they're like little dust particles of gold, beautiful gold, just disperses into the air. And that is a dream come true, a wish fulfilled. So your guardian angels are saying there's a dream that you have, a wish that you have, that your soul is calling you, right? Like you've been following this calling inside of you, this inner urge or desire for something in particular. It feels very mystical, magical, or spiritual. and it's here, it's arriving. That's two different things, here and arriving. It's here because it's coming up, but it's arriving because it hasn't burst yet. The bubble has not opened up and dispersed. What they're saying is you have held space for this to happen. You know, these icebergs are shifting. It feels like this is you reflecting on maybe your darker aspects of your life, right? When people talk about the dark night of the soul, and it's about really looking at some of your darker attributes, the way that you perceive things in life, the way that things have been handled and what have you, and you've done a lot of inner work when it comes to this, but it's a release of you being more of your true self. It feels more excitable, like maybe if you had been more tense or stressed or depressed, then now you are more outgoing, you're more lively, you're more engaging with people. And maybe if you have, this is not maybe, this is really how I'm seeing it mostly, is there's a dream that you've had, but because you were in this, it feels like sludge. That's what it feels like, is like you cleaning the sludge out of your energy field. So as you did that and you became more of your true self, and this outgoing nature, someone who's willing to take risks and jump on opportunities that present itself, and being open to these opportunities and holding space, just like these icebergs are shifting and creating that space. You doing that has allowed for this promise. It feels like a promise. It could be with another person, or it could, whether it's romantic, or it could involve another person that needs to provide this opportunity for you or assist you in this opportunity, but it does feel like it's an involvement with another person, that this is allowing it to surface. It's clearing the way for this opportunity to present itself. And again, it feels very spiritually connected. So whether this is something that is actually of the spiritual nature as far as your dream is, or it's the fact that you're so passionate about this and you're so sincere and genuine. It's like people who always had this dream when they were a child. It's like, I knew that I would be this particular person, or I knew I would take this particular career path, or I knew this would happen, or I would be with a particular person. It's like whatever that one thing is for you is opening up. That opportunity is opening up. You never let go of that dream. You know, it's like a fashion designer. I always knew when I was a child I would want to be a fashion designer. And, you know, something happened. I thought that I wouldn't, I go off on this other path, and then but you never let go of that dream. You never let go, even though you're doing things that were completely different, right? So you just have to trust the process, is what your guardian angels are saying. Trust that it's happening, and trust yourself ultimately. Trust your skills. Trust your level of awareness and understanding about this, and hold faith, right? Because holding faith, you're not seeing that bubble like from here, like even with an iceberg, you don't see all the layers of the iceberg beneath the surface. You know that they're there through experience. Well, not funny, but anyway. Shield Maiden. Great teacher. Learn from spiritual experiences. Make plans and focus. Be devoted and committed. See your seeds grow. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? I mean, it's saying the same thing over and over. I'm noticing this little bunny tail. And what I'm hearing is like they're putting me in a garden and there's this bunny and you see it's so brown, it blends in, but I notice it because it's a little bright tail. And they're showing me, and even the dove, like when I see, we have white doves in this area, and when they obviously stand out because they're super, super bright. Right, and what I heard was, I see you, like you can't hide. You can't hide anymore. You can't hide your light. You can't hide that passion in you anymore. It's too profound. It's too intense, and so you're moving into a more, again, it's you're being put forward. You're put forward. It's like a whole line of people in your guardian angels are calling on you now. It's like, it's your turn. You need to step forward. You're ready to step forward. You need to be out in the limelight. You need to be seen. It's your time. It's your time to shine. It's your time to go. And so that's really what they're showing. It's like, go ahead and start. It doesn't feel like start. It's like this idea, right? It feels like it was in your head because you've kind of taken time for yourself to deal with, like, shedding the things that aren't conducive to the plan of your passion, whatever this passion is, right? Whatever your dream is. You never let go of that thought, but right now it's kind of a thought, or you're kind of just putting things out there that aren't fully dedicated to it, right? Like, let's use a fashion designer example, and you're working an office job, right? And so you're doing this office job, but in your spare time, you're making handbags, and you're matching it to outfits that you're wearing to your office job. And people are noticing how beautiful you're dressed, and they're asking you about it, and you're like, oh, it's just, you downplay it, like, yeah, I've worked on it a little bit, but you don't say that you've made the entire thing. Like, they think because the way that you worded it, that you are implying that you just altered it, and that you don't really want to share where you got it from, so they're not going to push you on it. So they're saying, start telling people exactly who you are, exactly what you do, and exactly what your passion is. Because you never know if someone in your office is like, oh my gosh, I want to buy that from you. And then they go out, and then one of their friends is actually connected to someone that's very significant that can open doors for you, right? It's like, it's right there. It's right there. So just start putting this out there, putting yourself out there. And they're even telling me about how if you personify a seed, it can be a very painful process. And the way you can personify the seed is looking at a baby. Like the birth of a baby is very painful and traumatic for the baby. And so your experiences as you were the iceberg shifting and coming up from submersion can potentially be painful or seemingly aggressive in your life, like the dark night of the soul. However, it's a necessary process in order for you to expand. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm going to pull one more card for you. It doesn't 100% feel necessary, but it's just going to highlight everything as well. The Five of Pentacles. Okay, so they're saying that you have worked and you are working really, 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 really hard, even if you don't realize it. Like, I think that you do, and I think you would say, like, you are committed to these things. You are doing these things as far as, like, the going through the process of the dark night and, like, evaluating what doesn't serve you. What I'm seeing with this is like Christmas lights. Like it's cold, but if you look at this, right? If you look at this card, it looks like they're shivering, they're cold, they're not accepting help from this place because they refuse to go in, so on and so forth. I'm seeing this differently. I'm seeing this as a beautiful festival, a beautiful home, a warm home, and these people who are actually out there because they choose to be, because they're entertaining. They're not entertaining them. I mean, they are entertaining themselves, but they're just admiring like these lights. They're admiring the lights, right? Admiring the holidays. They're actually having a really good time. It's a very pleasant experience. And so what I see here is that's what's happening now for you, or very soon to come, in the sense that I'm literally seeing that actually happening for you. I'm literally seeing that happening for you. Like you with another person who is connected. Like I said, this other person connected to your dream. Just going out casually and having some sort of, like, you're either going out to dinner or you're going, looks like a tea house to me in my vision. So it's like you just going out and socializing with them, or like if you have like a formal or informal, I guess, sit down with someone like an investor or something, like where they're interested in you. That's what I'm saying, is it's a literal event that's happening for you because of you looking at you or your work or your abilities, but talking to you. And I see you internally, but also maybe externally snickering, like happy, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Like it's like you're smirking, maybe not necessarily snickering, but like smirking, like, oh my goodness. This is so fun. This is so exciting. This is so cool. And it's this feeling of I knew it. It's like I'm excited, but like I knew it. It's like when it happens, it's that feeling like I should be super, super excited. I am, and I'm very happy about it. But I knew this would happen for me. I knew it was meant for me. So that's what I see. That's what I see for you guys. Just hold the space, release that space so that can bubble to the surface and pop. All right, bye guys. Hey, pal number 3. You know what your energy is to me? Soul food. Your energy is soul food to me. It's comforting. It's mature. It's delicious. It's complex but simple. It's buttery. It's carby. Sugary sometimes. I'm thinking about sweet potato pie. More like sweet potato casserole, but you know, that's what I see for you. You're just soulful and soul food, and just the depth to you. But you know, soul food comes from a painful circumstances that create tradition, family tradition, and connectedness of a blend of cultures. Because I'm literally seeing the like an African American community, and how it's a blend of these cultures of slaves that were brought over who couldn't communicate the same languages as each other, thrown in together, and created a family unit, a culture blended of their home traditions, of their home beliefs and systems and cookings, and using, sometimes they would bring over seeds or foods from their homeland and then using that, right? And also using what was around them, so they're resourceful and creative. And I'm feeling a feeling of hope in a situation that feels almost beyond, it's unfathomable. The pain that's associated with this, and it feels like it comes from a lot of hope, a lot of faith, and authority. You had to be authoritative. You had to take charge. You had to, because you didn't have a choice. And this feeling that you couldn't do it, you can't do it alone. You had to hold faith. Release the old and rest. We have spring, equinox, and rebirth. So we have spring and we have autumn. So it's that whole process. Can look at it again. I'm saying again because I'm seeing a similarity with another pile, but this feels more like a lot of pain. And seeing through this painful experience a new perspective, a higher perspective on things, and that painful process that I explain about the release. If you personify nature, then it's that release of the leaves, and then the winter coming in, where everything is still and growing, and then the secondary painful process of seeds having to burst through the ground and create roots, and then emerge itself out of the soil. And so I'm seeing a pain here associated here through that process, but it's what comes after that, right? The rebirth. And it feels very liberating because you're not bound to the ground anymore. Like as the seeds create the flower, and the flower creates the seeds, and the seeds disperse, right? Or if it's rabbits, these baby rabbits that can't see and they can't move, and then they grow and they can just explore wherever they feel compelled to, wherever their intuitive nature pulls them to. So it's this feeling of freedom, liberation, full liberation from a painful experience, that I feel that you had no choice in the matter other than to persevere. So your guardian angels are acknowledging this. They're acknowledging your experiences, and they're acknowledging that you're going through the process, or you have gone through the process of rebirth, that it's not going to happen anymore. Like that pain is not going to exist in your life to that capacity anymore. Of course, we have our ups and downs in life, but what you've experienced will no longer happen again, and you will never feel that level of pain again. Honor your inner knowing. Bask in joy and light. Be fearless and stand strong. Transform and unveil your gifts. Take note of intuitive messages. Be devoted and committed. And I'm seeing, and I just split the deck, and there's the winter associated here. And what I'm seeing, if you're someone, I won't say, but if you resonated with all or one pile, it totally makes sense in like different, they're all different, like these piles are all different, but I can see the interconnectedness dependent on your situation and dependent on well, it's dependent on your situation. But I'm noticing, like, first of all, the whole cycle of every season, and then the moon and the sun, and it's this balance, this harmony that's within you. And I notice they're all looking at me. I'm really that's really being highlighted, that they're all looking at me. And I feel like your guardian angels have laser focus, laser vision on you right now. And they're focusing on you because they're watching you. They're watching you. It doesn't necessarily, they're always guiding you, they're always supporting you, right? But right now, what they're doing is observing. They're observing you. They're like, you know, they want you to follow your intuition. It's like the path has already been created for you, pre-birth, right? You already knew the direction in which you wanted to go. So as you're free, where are you going to go? Like, are you going to listen to your intuition? Because it's a heightened awareness of your intuition, a connectedness to your intuition in a way that you had never been connected to before, because you had so much that you had to experience, you had to free yourself from, that untangling yourself from that situation is now putting you into a place where you're fully able to focus and fully be aware of what it is that you're looking for, or what it is that you're feeling. It's like if something's ever missing, or something needs to be fulfilled, something's calling at you, but you're not sure what. It's like, what is it that I feel? What is it that I'm trying to get? What is it that I'm searching for? What is it that I'm looking for? Something like that. And they're watching you because you know, internally you know, intuitively you know. And I'm like patting the top of my head. It feels like my crown chakra, like connecting to your crown chakra. And I'm noticing this in the infinity, and again, this balance. There's a huge message here about your life coming into balance now. It's like all of that karma, it feels like karma that you were, past life karma. It's past life karma, and it's not karma placed on you for a negative reason. Like, it's not like, you know, you're bound to this because you're paying off debts or something like that. It doesn't. It's this feeling of like you're experiencing that for whatever particular reason is meant for you, in whatever way it's supposed to serve you in a positive way, right? You're supposed to learn something from those experiences. But because of you experiencing that and persevering and getting through that, then now you get the other lighter aspect of the karma. So there's this other part of karma that's saying this is the balance, right? You experienced the worst of it. So now you're going to be experiencing the better part of it. The other aspect of it, the lighter aspect of it. Yeah. Ten of Cups. Overwhelming sense of joy. Here's the balance, right? Justice being served, karmic justice being served, in the sense that you've experienced the difficult parts of it. Like, you've earned your keep by going through it, by experiencing it, by handling it, by dealing with it in the way that I should. And judgment here, another indication of guidance and karma to me too, because it's showing like this was beyond your life choices in some ways. Like, I mean, we could take it back to that example of being enslaved. It's like they had no choice in that matter. right? Like if they fought back, there were only a couple options that could happen there, or if they were born into slavery, since that occurred for hundreds of years. So it's like there were limited options on that. They were bound to those experiences, right? And they're just showing they want me to even highlight the fact that like the people who like the slaves who chose to rebel were eliminated, right? It took so long for that to happen. It took a lot of help from other people too, to like, they're showing me how like what is it called? Not Mennonites, but like the other religious people, like they would take the Bible and they would show these slave masters, like in the Bible, that they should be free, like indentured servants, like they should be freed. And so they were helping liberate these people from their experiences, from their enslavement. And there's some sort of commonality in that, in the way that your life felt. Not to really put it in such an extreme term, but there's a similarity, at least in the feeling of entrapment and having limited choices. And the choices that you could have made would not lead to a life that would be much different than this feeling of servitude, if that makes sense. I hope I'm making sense here. I'm not being offensive. And I'm like talking about soul food, and then it's no, that's what they're showing me. So this is the best examples I can get across. I'm not trying to offend here. Anywho, so let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's just, that's what it's showing me, you know. And here with the Six of Pentacles, like I'm just seeing that it's spirit karma, like paying dividends back to you, right? It's like where you were mistreated, or where you were not being respected or held in a place where you should have been, like a fair place. If you weren't treated fairly, you're going to receive that back to you in abundance. In abundance with the Ten of Cups here. It's like overflowing. Your cup overfloweth. And that's what I see. See, independence here, Nine of Pentacles, and the Sun. And this could also be this mental independence, because the Sun reminds me of what I was seeing at the beginning of when I was talking about birth. Like this could literally be you giving birth if you're having a child, but it's like you letting go of, not to say it, that it sounds like insensitive, but you releasing ancestral patterns, you releasing, like, it's like, I'm not going to be the way that I was treated when I grew up, or I'm not going to, you know, I'm going to protect my child in a way that I felt like I was unprotected or unseen, or understand my child in a way that I wasn't understood, or I'm just not going to repeat these cycles that I had experienced in my life, or the injustices that I felt in my life. It's not going to repeat in the future. And it feels very liberating. Again, that's the biggest message here, is this feeling of liberation, where it's you following through the course of your life, you never giving up, you persevering. And just by doing that, that has allowed everything to kind of destructure. Like I'm just seeing the Tower card, and the Tower coming down, and the Tower is not anything that you built. It was like you were born in this tower that was meant to fall, because it was built on sand. And as it crumbles, you are now able to go be where you've always fantasized. It's like this dream that you've always wanted to live out by the shore, and you could always see from the tower this beautiful ocean, and you could fantasize about what that felt like, but you could never reach it. You could never achieve it. You could never go there. It's like you can never afford to leave the castle. And so now that it's gone, nothing is holding you back. You have that choice to go there. So just follow that intuitive pull. And that's why they're watching you. It's like, follow the voice of your soul. Follow that calling internally of where you should be, because that is part of your path, is to say, you didn't have the choice before. So even if your intuition was telling you something else, somewhere to go, mostly you persevered, you hung on. So as you hung on and everything's gone, eliminated, now you have that choice. Are you just going to stay put, or are you going to move, right? What is it that you're going to do? Because you have a lot waiting for you. I'm just asking because I'm like, do you have to hold your hand out for it? And they're saying like it's gonna come irregardless. It would just be a lot easier if you would hold your hand out, right? You don't want all these coins falling on your head. That would be a little painful. So just put your hand out. Make it a little bit easier. Look up, pay attention to these coins falling so it doesn't bump you on your head. So that's what I see for you guys, right? Bye.